For years, firefighters across St. Lucia faced the same challenges: outdated firefighting equipment, unreliable ambulances, and insufficiently trained personnel to meet the island's growing emergency demands. Ditney Downs is the Chief Fire Officer.
It has been very challenging, and the situation in St. Lucia, as we speak, in terms of emergency responses, have been increasing on a daily basis. So we're on track this year to respond to 16,000 ambulance calls. The ambulances we had before, most of them were almost 19 years old. Now, 15,000 ambulance calls in a year. That's a lot of movements. And you have these ambulances at that age. Now just juxtapose that to the minibuses. No minibus lasts so long. So it was a very challenging period for the fire department, but fire officers are very resilient, and we are very committed to what we do. We understand our job and the importance of our job to society.
But that picture is changing. Since taking office, Prime Minister Honorable Philip G. Pierre's administration has pumped more than 26 million Eastern Caribbean dollars into upgrading the Saint Lucia Fire Service, a figure that later grew to 36 million with additional purchases and development loans.
So in that loan, we have funding for 5 ambulances, 2 an additional aircraft firefighting appliance. So for the very first time in the history of St. Lucia, Iwanero International Airport will have 4 aircraft firefighting appliances. That's the very first time. And George Charles, we just had a handing over of 2. That is apart from the Caribbean development, the $40 million loan. These 2 appliances that was just handed over was from local revenue, from my budget, right? So one was the aircraft appliance was assigned to George Charles. So currently George Charles has 2 aircraft firefighting appliances. That have never happened in the history of George Charles. What these 2 appliances will do is to allow George Charles now to accommodate bigger aircrafts. Okay, so with just the adjustment in manpower and these little things, but in terms of coverage, they could accommodate bigger aircrafts. All right. So we'll have an additional aircraft fire appliance for Iwanero. So in case one break down, it will not affect the category of the airport. Okay. So that loan covers this additional aircraft appliance and 5 domestic trucks. So every station around the country will get a new domestic truck.
In October 2024, 4 brand new ambulances were delivered to stations in Castries, Gros-Islet, Micoud, and V4, dramatically improving emergency medical response times. Then in July 2025, 2 state-of-the-art fire appliances, including an airport crash tender, joined the fleet, bolstering St. Lucia's aviation and structural fire capacity. The fire service also welcomed 52 new recruits earlier this year, the first major intake in several years, as part of a broader plan to rebuild manpower and morale. Additionally, the issue of accommodation is also being addressed against an increasingly diversified workforce.
The past 3 years, we've gotten a significant sum to refurbish and upkeep fire stations. So as we speak, every fire station in St. Lucia have gotten the attention that it deserves. Every one of them have been refurbished, new appliances, new furniture. I'm talking about appliances, new furniture have been purchased. So every single one, including were able to get funding to do an extension at Sufre Fire Station. So if you pass that fire station, you'll see an extension on that station that basically will accommodate a training room and female quarters. Most of our fire stations around the island, unfortunately, were not designed to accommodate so many females. So we have to now figure out how we provide accommodation for them. So the increasing our budget for upkeep of stations have basically assisted us in trying to do that.
The multi-million-dollar investment in the Saint Lucia Fire Service is supported by financing from the Caribbean Development Bank, and officials say while staffing and station upgrades remain ongoing, the improvements already mean faster response times and greater readiness in times of crisis.